phone ready to hit the shelves next month. Take on the iPhone. It comes complete with touchscreen, email, maps, internet browsing. How much, though, is it like the iPhone? How does it stack up? Well, my next guest had the opportunity to actually play around with the G1 phone earlier this week. He did a side-by-side comparison. He's here with us today. Joshua Topolsky is the editor-in-chief of Engadget.com. Welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you? It's Engadget.
Engadget. What did I say?
Well, it happens. You might have said N. That could be my mistake.
You've done too much radio.
It's possible.
Engadget. So is it an app killer? Is it an iPhone killer, this thing?
Well, I'm not sure it's an iPhone killer. I mean, I feel like that term gets thrown around a lot. It's a good phone. It's got a lot of really interesting features. It's different than the iPhone. And I think it's going to appeal to some people who might buy an iPhone, but there's going to be a lot of people who are looking for something slightly different, and that's where it's aimed.
Mm-hmm. And what's slightly different about it?
Well, for one thing, it's built on sort of this idea of open source and openness. Google's whole, their whole spiel on the phone is, we're not going to put restraints on you. You can do whatever you want with it. You can put whatever apps you want on it. And so I think that people who are looking for a little more tweakability, geeks will get into it a bit more, whereas the iPhone is aimed squarely at a broad, casual, more of a casual consumer market.
And they've actually, there's been a lot of people complaining this week and recently that Apple has been too strict in what it allows on its own iPhone.
Yeah, the timing is actually quite good for T-Mobile and Google and HTC, the company that makes the phone, because Apple has taken a lot of heat recently for the way they've been running their app store,
mm-hmm.
which is where you can buy applications for the iPhone. They've been, basically they've been sort of arbitrarily, mysteriously pulling applications, and they've got a really strict set of rules that they use, and to judge what goes on in the store and what doesn't. And so the timing is great for T-Mobile because they're saying, look, here's something where you can do what you want. We're not going to tell you not to do it. We won't pull your app off of our app store. They have an app store called the Android Marketplace. So it's, definitely there's a bit of a storm brewing in that region.
How about the keyboard? One of the things that the iPhone was revolutionary in is having that glass, no real keys on it. You can make the keyboard, the face look like anything you want it to. Is that the same here?
Well, I mean, it's a touchscreen phone. It uses a similar technology to the iPhone for its touchscreen, but it also has this flip out physical keyboard, so you've got a lot of what the iPhone's doing in terms of the screen can be whatever you want, and it's got, it's a capacitive, they call it a capacitive touch screen, which is more sensitive than the typical touch screens you see on phones. But, the physical keyboard is kind of a big win in a lot of ways. A lot of people aren't comfortable with the iPhone's virtual keyboard. So, but it doesn't have a virtual keyboard. You have to use the physical one.
Let's get a phone call or two. Mike from Portland, Oregon. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Hi there. Go ahead.
I was wondering if Google is successful in promoting this Android platform across multiple companies, doesn't that open up the possibility of virus attack?
Yeah, if it's open source, can't more people get in and hack the system?
Well, there's certainly you're probably a little bit more at risk than with an iPhone. But, we've got phones like Windows Mobile phones, for instance, and Palm phones that have been pretty much free reign. You can make whatever apps you want for them. And they haven't really been plagued with viruses or malware very much. So, I think, we'll see. This is a much bigger market they're playing for than the sort of business users or the geekier users for those devices. But, I think that they're going to be keeping a watch. It's not just going to be do as you please. I think that they're going to be keeping a very close eye on the kind of apps that people are making.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for calling.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you talked about Apple keeping its system very close to its chest, and it does that. Don't you have to be a Google user to use this phone too?
This is I haven't gotten a confirmation on this. I've heard different people say different things, but it does. I mean, at the base of this, you have to use Gmail to get contacts onto the device, to sync contacts, which I would imagine means you need to have a Gmail account. I don't think they're going to have a service where you just have your contacts separate. So I think obviously they're trying to tie in their cloud services and their webmail to the phone. So yeah, the way it looks is you're going to have a Google account to use it.
Is there anything missing? Glaringly missing. Oh, how did they forget to put this in
on the
there?
G1?
Yeah, on the G1.
Well, very much like Apple, they don't have any kind of video recorder. You can do pictures, but if you want to shoot a video, there's no way to do it right now, which seems very odd. They don't have a video player. There's apparently one that's available on their application store, the marketplace, but it doesn't come with one. So if you want to watch a video on it, you have to get a separate app that you need to download. It doesn't have multi-touch the way the iPhone does. So when you want to zoom in on something, you actually have to use a little plus or minus.
You can't squeeze it with your fingers.
There's no
like
pinching, right? Yeah. There's no two-finger gestures that you use on it. So it is missing a few things, but I think it's missing far less than the iPhone was when it came out of the gate.
Do you expect it to be as big a seller as the iPhone?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, AT&T it's a very dominant network here in America, and Apple, of course, is a brand to be reckoned with. This is a little more grassroots, and I think that for T-Mobile, it's going to be very successful. And I think for Google, it's going to really cement their place as a contender in smartphones and in sort of this converged area that we're moving into with devices. Will it sell as many? I mean,
who knows?
I don't know, but I would say not. At a glance, probably not.
Why would a programmer want to write a program for this phone versus write one for the iPhone?
Well, I think that the main reason. Okay, so if you write an application for the iPhone, you can't write a web browser. You can't make your own web browser, your own email application. There's very restrictive limitations put on developers for the iPhone. You can do certain things, you can't do other things. Apple's sort of vague about it, but they don't want you competing with their products that are on their apps that are on the phone. Whereas with Android, you can do whatever you want. You want a browser, an email client, you can go ahead and do it. So if you're going to invest a lot of time and money in something, you sort of have to. With Apple, you have to hope that they'll approve the application. Whereas with the G1 and Android, it'll go out to the marketplace.